Hey, welcome back to Ping Pong Flicks. My name is Chris Wong. Justice League has finished its second week run, dropping only negative 57%. Now I say only because before that, Batman v Superman dropped like 69%, and Suicide Squad dropped 69%. Not as much as less as Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman dropped a very low, but 57%. That's good. That's actually good for me. I was actually thinking it might drop like 60 plus. Although I had some Chinese, some of my friends in China, and there's a person in Thailand who actually calculated some things together, and they recognized that by weekend and there's possible 478. They gave me that number, so I said, wow. If they don't know anything about Thanksgiving weekend, because Thanksgiving weekend is a long weekend, so that may go over 500 plus, but sadly it didn't. But I mean, by tomorrow when you see this, Monday's numbers will come in, and the true Sunday number may come in and may come in higher, but I've never really seen that happen too often. So I'd say right at what they have reported is 481. It's over to 478, but I really wanted that 500 million, just to give it a little bit more positivity, even though it's still lower than what Batman v Superman has done, granted. But I try to distance myself away from other movies at this point, even though I'm gonna compare some movies here. But I try to keep it a little bit, glass half full. And I like that Forbes. Usually Forbes don't really say too good things about the Justice League and how it's going, even though the review was great. But they actually more positive on this one. It climbs to 481 million worldwide, and they tell you all these different credits, and they say the good and the bad, and so I'm glad that they do both, a little bit of both. And then at the end of the article, it kind of just takes away that there's still life in this. It's not dead, not like other sites, like people are saying it's a flop, it's a bomb. You know what's a flop and a bomb? That's Power Rangers, man. Power Rangers, which I love Power Rangers, the movie, but man, that bombed. That barely made anything. It had so big drops every week, and it barely made anything back. It lost money actually, and that had a cinema score of an A. And it was a little bit better reviews than Justice League. So if you want to see a bomb for the year, for me, that's my gut heart-wrenching bomb for the year is Power Rangers. But this actually still has life, and they recognize that. They recognize that a little bit. So I threw up a chart just to show. This is the worldwide. Okay, now let's everybody's talking about domestic. Oh, it's not domestic. It's not working. For me, it's the overall money, and I think for the studio, it's overall money. I mean, how do you think Transform movies keep getting made? Because worldwide total is what matters to them. Worldwide total is what gets to the $1 billion club. Not that this will get to the $1 billion club, but that's what gets the money up there. So here's the different DCEU movies. This what people are comparing to. Batman v Superman, of course, is right out the gate. It's just jump a huge hurdle. It just goes up and up and up and up, and that's great. That's perfect. That's awesome. It was Batman and it was Superman, and they're doing that whole fighting, superheroes fighting each other. So it was the first one out the gate, and people can kind of still have that Man of Steel for the general audience who don't appreciate Batman v Man of Steel could still get in with, okay, well, maybe Batman v Superman turn around. And that's probably also the reason why they're not watching Justice League too much, because they got that sour taste from Batman v Superman. Even though I love Batman v Superman, they still have that sour taste, and so they're not going back to the theaters. Although there is some word of mouth out there telling people it's not Batman v Superman. It's totally different. To the dismay of Batman v Superman fans, the dismay of Zack Snyder fans, the general audience actually wants a little bit more of what this Justice League provides. But in any case, it starts off really slow. So everybody starts off really slow. Justice League is higher than Suicide Squad worldwide on the first weekend. Suicide Squad did 267. Wonder Woman did 228. Man of Steel did 202. So it is better. It's one of the better DCEU movies to start off the gate on the first weekend. And then worldwide, the second weekend it's still higher. It's 481. It's already completely demolished Man of Steel. It's ahead of Wonder Woman, ahead of Suicide Squad. It's still below that 683. But as these Batman v Superman were dropping at 60, 69%, 60%, it was just dropping like a fly. We drop at a negative 57%. We'll drop maybe a little bit more. So we may see that this Justice League climb a little bit higher, a little bit. I don't know if it will ever catch up to here, probably not, but it will get a little higher. It actually may overall beat some of these other DCEU titles in the long run in worldwide total. So it's not a bomb. It's not a flop for any matter of words. Look at it. It's the second best DCEU movie worldwide now. Domestic American audiences seem to care about Zack Snyder, cared about to hate on this type of property. International, they don't seem to dwell too much on the problems. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like the numbers hold up and they're still willing to go on and watch the spectacle. So I'm glad for that. So as you can see here, worldwide total, it's actually the second best DCEU movie. Sure, you can say it's not Avengers numbers, it's not those numbers, but Avengers took a lot of time. It was a build-up. It was a build-up from all these movies from before. So Justice League is just a step, one little step before the solo movies after it, and then maybe we'll get Justice League 2 versus the Legion of Doom, whatever. And if those aren't Avengers numbers, then there's something wrong. But I think right now it's okay. There's still it's slowly gaining the DCU slowly gaining the trust back from the general audience, to the dismay of Zack Snyder fans. But for the general audience who just wants to go in, have a good time, this is why the numbers are boosting. So for that, yes, it's still the second best DCU, so please don't fret. Let's keep watching. You know, we've got just 2 more weeks. Unfortunately, 2 more weeks, really, only till Star Wars Last Jedi comes out, and Star Wars Last Jedi will completely demolish every single film out there. So we won't know what it will do after that. But before that comes out, we have a little bit more play there as it continues to chip in. So we'll try to see what happens there. Hopefully next weekend we'll see a 24% drop or something like that. It has happened before for other movies. In fact, like Thor had a 20-something% drop. Last week had a 60% drop. So you can see that fluctuate. So we won't know until we get like 3 or 4 weeks to actually see. But interesting in this article is when they talk about it's currently running 35 and 65 in terms of domestic overseas split. So I tried to find some movies, and I tried to take apart some of these movies that this article talks about on Forbes. And one I can see is Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn. It has that 35-60, you know, that exact same 35-65 in terms of domestic overseas split. 35 domestic, 65 overseas split. So foreign is a little bit more than domestic, while like something like Wonder Woman, it was like half and half. So I wanted to compare with this movie, and this movie is Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. Didn't have really good scores either. You know, I didn't even look at the cinema score, if that really matters. I mean, look, Power Rangers. But domestic took in about 292. I don't know if Justice League will get that high. Foreign is at 537. Justice League right now is at 309. So this is almost a possibility. I'd say on the high, it is a possibility that you go 829. And that's great. That'd be pretty flippin' awesome if it ever goes that high. We won't know, although it started at an opening weekend of a 141, right? And that's pretty high. That's much higher. But look at these drops. It was at 69% on the first weekend, on the second weekend, 60% on the third weekend. So as these are getting higher and higher drops, well, Justice League getting lower and lower percentage drops, or hopefully lower and lower percentage drops, then it could quickly catch up to some of these movies. So that's why I have to see the 3 or 4 weekends to actually give you an idea of where it may actually end up at the end. Although there's a lot of analysts saying maybe higher 7s, I'm sure, I'm hoping there's more articles that come out tomorrow, gathering in the international numbers and actually analyzing it better. And maybe my friends over at International can do that for me once again. But it seems to be, I don't think it's going to be in the 600s. So it probably cleared the 600 worldwide. It'll probably get to the 700s, but I mean, I hope it gets to the 800s at least. If we're lucky, 9s, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't want to be so hopeful that I'm blinded by reality. And plus, Last Jedi coming out in a couple weeks, it's going to be really difficult for Justice League to get on ahead. But it's by no means a flop. You know, I'm hoping it makes money, and we won't know if it makes money. That's the thing, because the production budget is still not being reported. Warner Brothers, I don't know if they're going to report it. And some people say it doesn't matter. People think it's, but it does matter, because it matters to Warner Brothers to see how much they make, and we want to get it a fact. We want to get a factual number to base something upon, and then maybe if it's lower than 300 million, I don't know if it would be, but if it's lower than 300 million production budget, then people can have more sigh of relief. You know, kind of ease off on the little negativity that's been happening with Justice League. I know everybody wants that Zack Snyder cut, but Justice League's got to make money. Justice League's got to make money. This current iteration's got to make money before you even think about actually shooting anything else, finishing VFX for the Snyder Cut, or even releasing the Snyder Cut, because they want to make this current universe look good, or else they're going to be embarrassed, right? And that's why I call it Elseworlds, not because Zack Snyder Cut is an alternative or Elseworlds. It is the true cut in all intents and purposes, but the Warner Brothers eyes, they want to look at it as an Elseworlds, because maybe that's not the direction that it will go in. But anyway, this is the numbers: 481 million worldwide total as of Sunday. Today, Sunday, what is today? The 26th of November. So we don't know if that little number will be a little bit adjusted over the due weekend, over on Monday, but you know, I'll update you as maybe just a little verbiage before my next video. But that is it. What do you guys think about these numbers? Do you think Justice League will clear 700, 600? What do you think it may end up being? And please, I want to say it again. This is nowhere near a flop like I've seen flops happen. This is nowhere near a flop. This actually will it'll either break even or make a little bit of money. All right. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.